I just finished reviewing the work papers from our accountants on the financials for the properties that we're sending cash flow for today. And man, those checks are juicy. I have tape on the floor today to make sure that I stand on the right place. So that's a little bit too far. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Happy New Year. This is the first Infinite Cashflow show of 2025. And I'm incredibly excited because it's also distribution day for our investors today. So if you're an investor in our deals, you're gonna get an email after the show with your distribution notification that you have cash coming in your way. So that's an exciting day. I didn't time it this way. It just turned out that the 15th of this month was actually a Wednesday. So works out beautifully. I just finished reviewing the work papers from our accountants on the financials for the properties that we're sending cash flow for today. And man, those checks are juicy. And sometimes it takes a quarter, a couple quarters, 3 quarters for things to start tracking. But I think one of the things that I have to give huge credit to is our CS3 investments team is all in. And that's why I wore my all in shirt today, because that's what we're going to be in 2025. We're all in the deals that we already have in our portfolio. We're all in our blueprint program, our academy program, anything that has to do with education. If you're here in the show, we're 100% in, and I hope that you get to catch as many of these Infinite Cashflow shows for the year. But also, we are all in hunting for new opportunities for us to go invest our money in. And that's really what we do. I've been talking to a lot of investors for the last 2-3 weeks. Alan and myself have been jumping on 15, 20, 30-minute calls with some of our investors. And I'm loving chatting with them because we are planning for this year. And I think if you are going to have success in 2025, and that's what we pray for, that's what we wish you, you have to be someone that is intentional about it. Success doesn't happen by accident. Success happens when you consistently, repeatedly perform actions that are tracking to your ultimate goal. At least that's how I've done it time and time again in every single one of my companies, in every single one of my investments. I had an amazing call today from a friend of mine that I met in my e-commerce days. So that's over a decade ago. And he called me up and said, "Hey, Carlos, I see your social media. It's amazing what you've done in the last few years. I want to become an investor, and I also need your professional advice on something," right? So it was cool. I haven't talked to this person for like 5 years, at least, maybe even more. The last time I remember being with him was at a mastermind event in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico, probably about 9 years ago. And that mastermind event was e-commerce related. It wasn't even real estate. So imagine how time flies, and that's going to happen to all of us. So the people you meet today are going to watch you, and are going to see you, and are going to see what you do in 2025, 2026, and for the next half a decade. And maybe you don't connect with them, but as long as you are there and you're succeeding and winning, guess what? They met you a long time ago. They're probably going to want to do some business with you. So that was exciting for me because I had no intention to call him or anything, but when I saw his number calling my phone, I'm like, oh, I'm going to answer this call. Let's see what he's up to. And they're doing great. They have a brand, a nutritional brand that is doing $5 million a month. And guess what? They need that money to go somewhere. So, hey, we're getting investors for our stuff even before we offer the first deal of 2025. Okay? So that's why I'm so excited today. So today is all about focus, how to achieve it, how to plan for it, and then I'm gonna have a surprise for you guys. I have something that I've been sharing with a few select investors for the last 2 weeks. We have released the new version of a tool that was our invention here at CS3 Investments. And the reason I created this tool is because we got a ton of feedback from investors saying, hey, you know what? I'm deploying this money in a deal, but I don't know exactly how it grows. Like, I have an idea, but I would like to see it, visualize it. So here at the office, I have a large whiteboard, and I grabbed a marker one afternoon and I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna draw the journey of the money. I'm gonna draw how money compounds in commercial real estate over time, given the fact that we already know what kind of deals we've done and the returns and everything else. So I spent about an hour, 2 hours just drawing it out. And then when I stepped away from the whiteboard, I looked at it and I said, oh my God, this is how money compounds over time, tax-free, with cash flow, with appreciation, and in one of the safest investments out there. And I really excited myself one more time. And just like Eric was saying, you gotta fall in love with what you do, right? And falling in love with what you do typically involves a whole lot of practice. And the more you practice, the better you become at it. And the better you become at it, the easier it comes to you. And when things are easy that are great, then you learn to like it a lot. That's really how it happens. Now, in the beginning, guys, it's not easy. If you're just getting started, if you're here for the first time, you're like, oh shoot, what is this commercial real estate thing, right? I talk to a lot of realtors too. And sometimes I ask them the question, hey, you're a residential real estate person. Have you ever dabbled in commercial real estate? And 9 times out of 10, when I have that conversation, they look at me and it's like, yeah, but you know what? That's such a different ball game, and it has different rules and all that stuff. And they speak about it almost like it's like 100 times harder. And it's not 100 times harder. I don't think it's even harder. It's just that because it's bigger properties, bigger deals, bigger money, we create a false idea in our head that bigger money, bigger deals are somewhat harder. And instead of us staying with it to try to master it, then we fall back into doing something small again and staying safe, right? Does anybody relate to that? Have you ever been in a situation where you try something new for the first time? It was not as easy as you thought. It was a little bit hard. You had to struggle. Maybe you sweated a little bit. You got nervous. You got out of your comfort zone. And you know for a fact that you need to stay with it. But because you didn't have success in the first try, you fall back in your comfort zone and what you know and what feels good. Yeah? Yes or no? Put yes in the chat if you've been there. Now, I have 2 13-year-olds at home, right? I have twins. I have a boy and I have a girl. And they are very, very different. Even though they're twins, guys, they are like completely, absolutely different personalities. They like different things. And they like different sports. You know, it's like night and day. But both share one thing in common, is that when they need to get good at something, their natural instinct is to quit, is to fall back, is to step away, and to start talking negative. Even though I'm not a negative talker, because I've learned that the power of your mouth is extremely powerful to put out there your success, but kids are kids, right? So when they start talking negative, I say, look, it's not gonna be easy. You gotta try it, you gotta practice it, and unless you commit to a certain amount of activity for this, you cannot expect to be good at it. Like you're gonna be either average or not so good, right? My daughter right now, she's obsessed with soccer. Like she wants to be a good soccer player. And one of her measures of success is she needs to learn how to juggle the ball. At least that's the goal that she has placed on herself. And she's practicing a lot how to juggle the ball. And some days it goes good. She does 4 or 5. almost 7 juggles, and then there's days that she can't even do 2. And she gets mad of herself. And then she gives me the ball and I do 20, and she gets even more mad, because that should not be better than teenagers, right? Teenagers are supposed to be better than parents. So that's why I stay good at it too, because I want to make sure that she knows that one day you'll beat that, but not right now. Okay? So this is part of you becoming better. Now, of course, we're adults. We have nobody to really push us or make us do anything that we don't want to do. The only person that can do that is ourselves. Okay? So staying accountable to what you set out to do is very, very important. And I think 2025 is going to be a pivotal year for real estate for many reasons, guys. There's many things going on, and I'm going to talk briefly about some of those. But if real estate is in your game plan this year and you're here because of that, you got to pay attention at 2 main things. And the 2 main things are that interest rates are going to fluctuate this year and continue to either go up, down, up again, and ideally they fall back down. And a lot of people are waiting for the magical moment when interest rates fall back down to start getting active, to start engaging. And I think that's a huge mistake. Most people that are sitting on the sidelines right now, not investing, not looking at deals, not participating, by the time that rates come down to their ideal number, every deal that they wanted to invest in is probably going to be taken already, because things are competitive and there's a lot of capital on the sidelines wanting to come into a great deal. So pay attention to interest rates, but not because you're waiting for that magical moment for when interest rates come down, you're going to actually be able to do deals, right? Interest rates will adjust to where they need to adjust. We are actively looking for opportunities. And last year we did deals with high interest rates and we still got amazing opportunities. So I want to tell you that many people last year didn't buy a thing. They stayed out of the market because they said interest rates are too high. And that lack of activity does 2 things. Makes them miss opportunities and gets them rusty, right? Because they're not moving. They're not participating. And they start forgetting their skill set. So a huge thing that I tell my students and people that are in my programs is, guys, you got to be active all the time. You got to look for deals all the time. You never know when your unicorn's going to show up. You never know when that property that might be a once in a year or once in a lifetime opportunity is going to show up. And if you're not active, it's going to go to someone else. So that's the first thing. The second thing, guys, is that there's a lot of people that are facing right now distress in their deal. And when I say distress, it can come from many different places. And this happens all the time, but when the economy gets a little bit tougher, distress affects people that own assets. And I'm gonna give you a few examples. I'm not gonna go through every single scenario, but the few examples that I'm gonna talk about is distress when it comes to loans. Because interest rates are high right now, a lot of people that own great properties have loans on those properties that are variable interest rate. And they've been consumed for the last few months, last few quarters, last few years with high interest payments. And that's been eating away at their reserves. That's been eating away at their cash flow. That's been eating away at them making profit with that particular deal. And it's gonna get to a point, and usually after the new year is when they went through last year and they said, wow, 2024 wasn't as good as I thought because of these interest rates. I am ready to let this property go for a lower price than I was hoping to get it sold for in 2024. I spoke to a broker today, and this broker has given us great opportunities. In fact, he's the broker that I bought the reserve at Cool Springs from. And he told me, Carlos, the deals that we were showing last year that were at this particular valuation, they're now being discounted 10, 20%. Is because now there's a reset, right? Now sellers get fatigued by not being able to capitalize on those deals. So that's one kind of distress, when the debt on a deal is putting pressure on that group. The second thing is there's a lot of folks out there that are now getting tired of their property in terms of being a landlord, right? Some people have owned their property for 5, 10 years, maybe 15, and they're just at the end of their rope in terms of managing, operating, and owning the property. Some of these owners are also in their 70s, in their 80s. They build wealth over time. They build, a great portfolio. They have assets in their portfolio. Some of them are paid off. Some of them have very little debt on them, good equity, and now they're ready to cash out on those. And some of them, I bought properties from folks like this, wish to leave it to their kids, but their kids have no interest. And when the kids have no interest, guess what? The last thing the person that has created the wealth wants to do is put it in the hands of kids that don't want to run the deal, don't want to manage it. And what they're going to do is liquidate for whatever price, right? And if you put yourself in that situation, if you have created some level of wealth and you've accumulated assets and it has costed you a lot of work, sweat, blood, and tears, do you really want to see your hard work squandered by the next generation? I don't. So what do these guys do is like, hey, let's put it on the market. And instead of leaving assets, maybe I leave cash, maybe I give it to charity, maybe I put it in a trust, maybe I do something with it, or travel the world for the rest of my life. So this is the other distress situation. It's a need and a want from folks that are getting older, that are ready to transfer their wealth to someone else. And in order for you to be that someone else, you gotta be looking. Because they're either going to do it directly, and sometimes they don't, or they're going to go through a broker. And the brokers are going to be the ones that are basically going to advise them, oh yeah, this person's qualified, this person's not qualified. But you got to build a relationship with someone that has access to those deals. So that's the second type of distress, right? That's of someone that needs to move those properties. And then other situations that, you will probably hear mentioned is, divorce is a very common thing. People that get a divorce, sell their stuff. That's another thing. It's unfortunate, but it happens every day. Another thing that happens is deaths in the family, right? If the wealth creator actually never did what I just said they do, and they do leave it to their kids really don't understand the value, and they're gonna let it go for whatever, right? As long as they get a good number, and that's a lot of cash, they're gonna let it go. So those are opportunities. So be on the lookout for those opportunities if you're actively wanting to invest your money. And if not, that's what I'm looking for. So this whole 2025, I am looking for these types of deals. Opportunities where there is a chance for us to get into a great deal at a great price that is already making money, that we can produce great returns for myself, my team, our investors, and of course, continue to build a portfolio. Okay? So that's just a couple tips. I'm gonna go through some of the stuff that I do every year to achieve success. And I was talking to Al earlier this week about, hey, I see patterns in folks that I talk to and that I work with, and some of my students and stuff like that. And I'm really hoping that, you take some of these things to heart. They're simple, they're not complicated, but they are hard to keep on them day in, day out. right? And today, I'm going to talk to you guys about goal setting. And goal setting is very important because if you don't have a name, if you don't have a destination, if you don't have a place where you're going, then how are you going to get there, right? It's like in your car, if you don't put an address in your GPS or in your iPhone or whatever you use for directions, like how are you going to get there? You can't just start driving and hope for the best. Same thing with your money. Same thing with your finances. Same thing with your business. You got to set some goals. And these goals need to be ambitious. These goals need to be uncomfortable. The second thing is you got to stay disciplined. And because we are human beings and we're flawed and we're imperfect and we are sometimes not necessarily the most disciplined, you got to create an environment and a group and a community so that you can stay disciplined with those goals. Because it's easy to say it in January, right? It's easy to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this every week, every day, every month, and then you fall off the train in February or March or whenever. So this is so very important. Then the next thing is accountability. How do you stay accountable for things? Who's going to keep you accountable? Are you good at keeping yourself accountable or no? And you just have to be honest with yourself. And if you're not so good at keeping yourself accountable, then find an accountability buddy. Someone has to be keeping you accountable. Is that a coach? Is that a mentor? Is that a friend? Is that someone that you trust? Someone has to keep you accountable, and you need to do certain steps. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And finally is can't quit, right? You just can't quit. This is the thing that gets people every time, is like when the going gets tough, easy to throw the towel. Easy to just give it up. Can't quit, right? Now, I've been able to, over the years, one thing that, just with those 4 things that I showed you, I've been able to achieve many times success, repeated success. And they say that, hey, it's easy to achieve success once, but how do you achieve repeated success? And it boils down to that formula that I showed you right now, right? I become a 1% in e-commerce, 1% in logistics, 1% in marketing, 1% in real estate. So how do you do that repeatedly? That's how you do it, right? This is what we've done in our portfolio just in the last 24 months. Now I'm excited because, guys, as the scale gets bigger, these numbers are going to get bigger too. Our portfolio is over $100 million now. And these numbers are going to start multiplying really fast, right? As soon as I finish the last quarter of operations, which we're basically closing the books for that today for 2024, this slide is going to change. I'm going to get the updated numbers of how much value we added to the portfolio. I know we've added at least $20 million in the last 24 months, right? I got a feeling that we've added another $5 to $8 million just last year alone, if not more, with the stuff that we've done in our properties, right? We've distributed to our investors cash flow every quarter, and that cash flow has grown by 67% since we started doing this. We've raised $50 million from investors. That number, guys, if you showed me that number just 5 or so years ago, I'd have told you there's no way. There's no freaking way I'm gonna raise $50 million. Right? My mind was nowhere close to that number. And you know what? We didn't do it in a day. It was that daily push to, hey, let's get closer to the goal. Let's get closer to the goal. And putting myself in situations that didn't allow me to backtrack, right? One thing that I'll tell you is I put myself in situations that it was either I get this done or it was a complete crash and burn. And because I'm so stubborn, I guess, I will not crash and burn, right? I will die on the hill trying and doing this thing, right? $100 million in the portfolio, guys. 1,400 units in our portfolio. I'm excited to reach the 2,000 unit mark here in 2025. That's one of our goals. And just in the community, guys, we've had a lot of people come into our show, into our blueprint program, into our academy, into our mastermind. So we're looking to do some big things here this year as well. My students have bought $70 million of properties just in the last 15 months. And I'm so proud of them. Not with me. They've done it on their own. After, of course, we taught them the ropes. And we have over $1 million distributed just in the last 15 months to our investors. So these are some cool things. So now let me start with the goal setting piece of it, right? Now here's how I do it. You can do it however you want, but what has worked with me is it's very hard to do like 100 different little goals. Like you need to set up some major areas in your life that you want to tackle. And most of the time, of course, we are thinking about money, right? We're all thinking about where do I want to take my financial journey this year? So you got to put yourself in that particular box. Okay, where do I take my finances to this year? Now, if you're a real estate investor like me, I know that money comes from me being invested and participating in properties and deals, right? This is the play. If I invest my money and my energy into getting 3 to 5 deals like the ones we did in 2024, we will build another $200 million in the portfolio this year. So that's my goal. My goal this year is 3 to 5 properties, $200 million of acquisitions. It's bold because there's no stability in the market right now. We're not talking the normal, we're at 4% interest rate for the whole year type of thing, like in 2021, 2020, and 2019, right? Back in those years, rates were super low, they stayed low the whole year, and there was a lot of activity. Now, I'm speaking this in faith. And I think that's one of the things that you have to do with your goal setting is, look, once you set out your goal, start speaking it in faith, even when you don't see it yet. How do you put things out there so that it becomes existence? You have to speak your goals. You have to write your goals. So my goal for acquisitions is $200 million of acquisitions this year. That could be 3 properties, that could be 4 properties, that could be 5 properties. Or who knows, it could be 1, right? I don't know how God is going to deliver that, but it's going to come this way. So that's my goal setting in the financial side of things. On my personal journey, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my kids, I have goals there too, right? I want to spend more time with them. I want to travel more with them. I want to do special things with them, giving experiences. This is the year where I believe my twins are ready to go travel to Asia and Europe again and just enjoy it. So part of that is me setting goals to, hey, we want to go at least on a big trip, at least one yearly big trip that it's so memorable for them that they will remember it for the rest of their life, right? How do I create that for them? How do I create that for my family? So that's on my family side. While, of course, becoming a better husband, better dad, better brother, better son, and really keeping my family together. And of course, good news for the CS3 Investments team. My goal is also to become a better leader and a better boss, right? So you guys can clap for that. Yeah. Eric's going crazy here. Cool. So, and that's really part of it, right? That's really part of it. Like, it has to be all inclusive. I can't leave parts of it out, right? And just to finish off, as on my health and fitness journey, I need to continue to take care of myself. I need to continue to show up to the gym. I need to continue to eat healthy. I need to continue to really try to stay young, right? Because I'm gonna be 50 in 2 years, guys. And really, I don't want to feel like I'm 50 in 2 years. I want to feel like I'm still 30 something in 2 years, right? But I can't do that overnight. So what do I need to do? Those are the goals, right? I have these many days that I have to show up to the gym no matter what, right? I have to keep my weight at a certain weight no matter what. And those are the goals. So at this point, right, it's not maybe a massive swing, but it's a maintenance thing that I want to make sure I stick with and that I don't go backwards on my health and fitness goals. Okay? So those are some areas, guys. You guys, of course, need to set up your own goals, but think about some of these things that are important for you. Write them down, speak them to your family, speak them to people that you trust, and help put it out there, right? If you're a praying person, like I am, give them to God, right? God has my goals before any other human being has my goals, because He knows the desires of my heart, right? So when I pray, hey, God, thank you for all these things that I'm going to achieve in 2025. They're in your hands, but I'm thanking you in advance, right? That's what I'm doing all the time. And when you live in gratitude, guys, I think one of the big things that should be overarching on this whole thing, for me especially, like gratitude is a huge thing. Like I wasn't supposed to be in this country to begin with, right? I was born in South America. I got really blessed that I got to come over here. And there was many chances that I could have gone back. And now I would have been back there. Not that that would have been a terrible life, but I am so grateful that I got to stay and achieve success and have a family and, have an amazing wife and kids and family, all these things. So I really try to every single day stay in that gratitude feeling, right? Stay in that gratitude feeling every single night, guys. One thing that I do for myself and of course for my kids is like, I ask them every day, hey, what are you grateful for? What was your happiest moment today? Right? Every single night I ask my kids that. What was your happiest moment today? And are you grateful for it? And that helps me tell them my grateful moment, my happiest moment of the day, right? That's just something that helps me reset daily on that. Okay? The second thing, and this is where it gets a little more challenging, is they stay disciplined. And this is where at the beginning of the year, we are all on fire, energy, like we are bouncing off the wall. We want to get it done, unless you had a really tough last quarter of the year. But if you had a good holiday season, now you're bouncing back and you're saying, okay, this is the year that I'm going to get it done. Now, don't start too hot that you can't keep up with the speed, right? That's what I would recommend. It's kind of like running, kind of like working out, kind of like, doing anything else. If you are trying to run a marathon and you give it your all in the first mile, what happens? Burnt out, right? The rest of the race is a mess. So what you want to do is stay disciplined. I'd rather you be the turtle that continues to walk, continues to move, going forward, rather than getting exhausted and burnt out, right? But that doesn't mean not taking action. That means taking action consistently, disciplined, over and over and over and over and over again. Even if you're bored, even if you don't want to do it anymore, even if whatever happens in your day, right? Don't let a bad moment in your day turn it into a bad day, right? Don't let a bad minute turn it into a bad day. You have to learn how to stay out of that. And we all have bad moments, but let's not have bad days, right? Don't let one bad moment turn into a bad day. And staying disciplined means that no matter how you feel, no matter how someone made you feel, you're going to stick with it. Stick to the plan. Stick to the routine. Stick to the program, right? This is what staying disciplined means. And I promise you that if you do, you're going to feel so much better about where you're getting and the progress that you are achieving. Now, here's a little bit of a trick that I do on myself when it comes to staying disciplined, because there's days and days. You have to look back and see what you've already accomplished, right? Because if you're a high achiever, sometimes what we tend to do is we tend to punish ourselves a little bit for not achieving a massive win that week, that month, that day, however time frame you are, right? And we're critical about ourselves. And sometimes that criticism is even more powerful than anybody else outside of ourselves. So what I try to do when I want to stay disciplined is I go back and think about the things that I've already done, that I've already achieved, the things that I've survived, the things that I've accomplished, and remind myself, hey, you were able to do this, you should be able to do that, right? Like look backwards and take some account, and if you need to write it down, right? If you need to write it down, write down some of your major wins in the last year or 2 or 3. Because that helps you remind yourself that, hey, yeah, I can do this, right? I can accomplish this. This is part of who I am. And stay with that identity of you being a winner. That helps me stay disciplined because I remind myself, yes, I am a winner. I am someone that is going to achieve greatness. I am someone that is going to do big things in benefit of others. And that helps me stay disciplined, right? It works for me. Hopefully it works for you. Okay. The other thing is accountability. And this one's a tricky one, guys, because, we live in a world where everybody's independent. Everybody loves freedom. Everybody loves to do their own thing. Nobody likes to be told what to do, right? And at some point, we all grew up, became teenagers, and they say that the chemistry of a teenage brain somehow changes and becomes of their rebellious nature, right? Becomes of the, oh, you know what? My parents don't know anything anymore, right? So when we're teenagers, our parents all of a sudden became dumb, right? We became smarter than them. And in South America, in Latin America, we call these the donkey years, right? Like literally, that's how they call it, because they have their own mind, right? Donkeys have a mind of their own. If they want to go that way, they'll go that way, and there's no way that you can pull them this other way. So accountability has to be built, and it has to be really established so that you remain on track with your goals. And the way that we do this here internally at CS3 is we check in with each other every single day, right? Every single morning, we have an asset management call. All the property managers, all the asset managers are there, and we stay accountable to each other, right? So if there's something that we needed to achieve, that's where we share it. And if somebody doesn't share it, then it's completely open and transparent. Hey, what happened with this? Did this get done? Was this accomplished or not? So we have this opportunity, and it's a completely established discussion where, hey, we said we were gonna do this. Did we get it done? Right? So at the team level, I'm keeping everybody accountable and myself accountable too. And I give permission to my marketing team, for example. Right now, we're on a huge initiative for this year to produce content, right? To do more podcasts, to do more YouTube videos, to produce more content. And of course, guess who has to record all that stuff, right? Yours truly. So I've given permission to my team to say, Carlos, we need you to do this, this, and this. And if I don't get it done, man, they need to keep me accountable, guys, right? They need to be on me. They need to pressure me. They need to remind me. They need to message me. They need to harass me. They need to bug me. Why? Because I gave them permission to do that. Because I know that's what's going to make this thing successful, right? We have a great message. We have a great product. We know what we're doing. More people need to know about it. And right now, the only way for us to reach more people is through social media, through YouTube, through podcasts, through opportunities like that, right? So I've given them that permission. So when you want to achieve great things, what I'm trying to tell you is you have to find someone that you trust, ideally that is very supportive of what you're trying to do, that keeps you accountable. and that knows what your plan is. And if this is in your finances, you need to find somebody, and this is uncomfortable, by the way, guys. It's not a comfortable thing to do, but I bet you it's so very powerful. The reason that I've been able to get in shape and fit and really feel really good about my fitness is because when I walked into the gym about 7 years ago, it's going to be 8 years that I walked into a CrossFit gym for the first time. There was a coach there, and the first week I hated it. But then I understood that it's like, man, I need to stay accountable to that person. I need to stay accountable. And for an hour, for 5-6 days a week, I needed to do what was on the board, and I needed to finish. And in the beginning, guys, it was messy. I didn't know the form. I didn't know how to do the exercises. Man, it was ugly. It was uncomfortable. It was painful. But I gave the coach permission to correct my form. I gave the coach permission to call me if I wasn't doing it right. I gave permission to the coach to tell me, oh, you didn't do 5 reps, you did only 4, right? So you have to give someone permission to call you on your stuff. And I'm telling you, this is the most powerful thing you'll ever do. Now, you're gonna hate it in the moment. You're gonna, especially if you're high, strong leadership, if you're the guy that says, no, I'm never gonna have a boss, right? I'm gonna be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life. Nobody's gonna tell me what to do. You have to, at some point, give a coach, give a mentor that green light to call you out. And you have to surround yourself with people that hold you to a higher standard, right? You can't be around people that tell you what feels good. You have to surround yourself with people that are going to tell you, hey, you're not doing this. You said you're going to do it. You're not doing this. And be okay with that and not damage the relationship, right? Not feel like, oh, shoot, they just told me something that made me feel a little bit in my feelings. This is very important, right? And that's what I tell many times my team is like, guys, look, I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm never going to tell you something that on purpose is going to hurt your feelings, but I'm going to call out certain things that you need to do that maybe you're not doing right now. And maybe in the moment it's not going to feel good, but I just want to tell you that, hey, no matter who you are, no matter how long we've known each other, I'm going to point out some things that in love are going to help you improve, are going to help you think. And I expect the same thing, right? I expect the same thing. If I'm doing something that goes against our core values, that goes against integrity or anything in our company, call me out. Call me out. Tell me. Be honest with me. Be transparent with me. Don't be afraid, right? This is really the relationship I'm trying to do. That's a healthy accountability relationship. So think about who that is in your life. Maybe it's more than one person in different areas, but this is very, very key. This is the secret to success, especially if you have somebody successful that can help you get there and that you want what they have. All right. And then the last part is, guys, not quitting, right? This is one of the things that, happens the most. I see people come and go, right? We've been running educational programs for probably half a decade now, and I see people come and go. And at first, everybody's excited, right? Everybody's excited about this industry, and they've heard that 90% of millionaires do so with real estate, and man, it sounds all good until you have to do the work, until you have the first deal that doesn't go your way, until you have the first moment where things kind of went sideways, right? And this is the hard part about business ownership, by the way, right? Entrepreneurship. If you are a business owner in the room, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? There's been days that you thought, man, why did I get myself into this in the first place? Because I have no one to call. And I learned this the hard way because the first 10 years of me being an entrepreneur, I had no mentors. I had no coaches. I had nobody to go to for help. It was me and myself and God. And God sometimes doesn't talk fast enough to tell me what to do, right? So I had to go look for other people that have already achieved, and I had to get outside of my ego to go ask for help and humble myself and say, man, I don't know this. How do I get it done? What are the steps to take? What am I doing wrong? Or what am I not doing, period, right? So not quitting is part of it. So remember, this is why we have goal setting in the beginning, because if you set out a goal, now getting there means that you can't take yourself out. And the only way to take yourself out is quitting, giving up, not doing what you said you were supposed to do, right? And it's not that I'm smarter than anybody else. It's not that I am even faster than anybody else, guys. It's just I stay with it longer. I refuse to quit. 2023 was a rough year for us because we closed no deals. I put 5 things under contract in 2023, guys. 5 deals under contract. Spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in due diligence money and earnest money, and we closed 0 deals. For 1, 2, or 3 different reasons, right? Not necessarily because the deal was bad, but there were situations that made the deal not work anymore. Some of that was interest rates going to the moon, right? We put a deal under contract in Arizona and we locked it down when interest rates were in the 4.5s. And inside of the 3 months that we had that thing under contract, rates went up to like 6%. So the returns were not there anymore. And we couldn't get to an agreement with the seller. So these are some of the things that we needed to do in preparation for 2024 when we actually did deals, right? Now, 5 deals, right? 5 deals, over $150,000 of money burnt in those deals from due diligence expenses and reports and travel and team and all that stuff. Didn't turn into anything. But I truly think that it was preparation for 2024. In 2024, we crushed it. But we never stopped. Because after 2 or 3 deals that didn't go through, I could have said, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm not going to look for many more deals. I'm actually going to take a pause, sit on the bench, see if the things change. But we refused to do that. And that was part of the not quitting thing. So if in 1 year, in 1 season, you don't get it, don't get weary. Stay with it. Stay with it, because as long as you're still doing good, your reward will come. That I can promise you. Your reward will come. But you cannot give up. And if you feel like giving up, call a friend that knows what you're up to. This is where the accountability person comes into play too. When you're about to throw that towel, take a pause, think about who supports you, think about who is in your team and your court, and call them and say, hey, I'm thinking about giving up. That's all you have to say. And let that loving person that wants the best for you tell you what they see in you. Tell you what they see in your future. Because if that person is the right person, they're going to say, hey, you can do this. You're stronger than what you think. I know that you have it in you. I know that you cannot let this go. I've seen it in your eyes. I've seen it in your heart. Right now, you're maybe in a weak moment. Never make big decisions when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling weak, and when you're feeling beat down. Stay with it. That's what you need to stay with it, right? So for anybody in the room, right? Hamid, Wendy, Amelie, Tony, Grace, right? Our whole team, guys, this is when we get tested. We don't get tested when everything's going our way. We get tested when we're tired, when we're sick, when we are down, when we're depressed. This is when we get tested. And that's the worst moment to make a decision to give it up, right? So go find somebody that you trust, that wants the best for you, that you've shared your goals, your objectives, and they believe in you, and tell that person, hey, I'm thinking about giving up. And I promise you that person will tell you the right thing and help you stay on track. Okay? Now, here's the surprise I have for you guys. If you are in our Blueprint program, in our Academy program, or any of our programs, especially in the Blueprint program, for those of you guys that are getting started in your commercial real estate journey, we have now finished our version 3 of the Infinite Cashflow Calculator, right? Many of you guys saw version 2 of the calculator last year, and this was the tool that I created for me because I wanted to see where my money will take me. Now, we showed it to over 150 people that invested in our deals last year, and everybody was super excited about it. But the number one feedback we got is like, hey, we would like to see this, we would like to see that, we would like to see how this compounds this way and that way. So version 3 is out. So if you're in our Blueprint program, I have a surprise for you guys, right? If you're not in our Blueprint program, it's the cheapest thing you'll ever invest in. And you should put in the comments Blueprint so that you can find out from the team how to get in it. But if you're in the Blueprint program, I'm gonna show you guys on a webinar that we are doing. What date is the webinar on? The 29th of this month. We're gonna have a webinar at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna break down step by step how to use the Infinite Cashflow Calculator. Version 3, right? New and improved, incredible. I've been showing it to a dozen investors in the last 2 weeks, guys, like privately. And I have a lot of people that say, okay, Carlos, I'm ready to give you $200,000. I'm ready to give you $300,000. Please don't send me distributions, reinvest it, right? That's something I heard yesterday. It's like, Carlos, I don't need my distributions. Can you just keep them and put them back in the deal? I'm like, well, it doesn't really work that way, but what you can do is save them, and then when we have another opportunity, you put them back to work, right? So the tool is very powerful. Do you have the tool handy? Just to give them a sneak peek? The number 3 or no?
Number 3.
Okay. See, man, not even Eric has seen it. Let me see if I have it here. All right. I'm gonna give you guys a little sneak peek of it. Let me see if I can stop sharing this and show you. Maybe before I mess things up. You guys want to see a sneak peek of it or no? Put yes in the chat if you want to see it. If not, we can just skip right through it. A bunch of no's? I'm not seeing the chat.
I'm going to guess.
Oh, okay.
It's all the extras.
No no's, just yeses. Okay. How do I stop sharing? Hold on.
You're not actually sharing.
Oh, I'm not sharing. Okay.
So,
You're sharing the slides or no?
I was sharing the slides.
Oh, you were sharing the slides. Okay, so now I can share.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. See, that's why I need Eric here with me at all times. Cool. So this is the version 3 of the Infinite Cashflow Calculator. Okay, guys? Different than the other ones. None of this bottom part was in existence on the last version. We've created a streamline here of investments year over year. So that's the sneak peek of the Infinite Cashflow Calculator. So I want to spend about an hour with you guys that are in our Blueprint program, Academy program, or any of our programs to kind of break it down and help you learn how to use it for you, right? And we're going to collaborate together because my goal is to make this tool so good that you can plan out your investment journey for the next half a decade and achieve your financial goals, right? Somebody told me the other day when I was sharing this with them, said, Carlos, I want to get to $1 million in 10 years, which I don't think is a very unreasonable goal. And I said, okay, if you want to reach $1 million in 10 years in your investment portfolio, this is what you have to do. And we started playing with it with the tool. And I was asking, okay, how much money you have to invest every year? And she told me, and we punched it in, and we got to $1 million by a certain date. Now, some of it is going to be a little bit of a stretch for her, but hey, that's the point. You have to set goals that are a little bit higher. Now, for you, it might be 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. Maybe it's 5 million in 20 years, 5 million in 15 years. Whatever that number is for you, the calculator is going to help you plan it out, right? It's helping me plan it out. So my calculator, my personal version that I follow, has 3 commas on it, right? There's $1 billion in that thing. Now it's scary, it's monster numbers, but hey, that's where I'm tracking. That's why I told you earlier, my goal is to get $250 million of assets this year. Is that possible? Yes, it's possible. Is that going to be a stretch? 100%. We're going to work incredibly hard to get it done. May I fall short of it? There's a chance. Can I exceed it? Maybe, right? But that's right now what the whole team is running after. That's the vision for the year. So whatever the vision for your year is, you can put it in the calculator. And then say, okay, for the next 5 years, because guys, 5 years goes like that, right? I mean, at least for me, 5 years seems like it's a blink of an eye. Before I know, it's like, shoot, my kids were barely 8 5 years ago. Now they're teenagers all of a sudden, right? I wish they were still little, but not anymore. Now I'm sure my wife is praying for my son to have a kid, right? So that we can have a baby. My 28-year-old is not married yet, but I think that's kind of in the future, in the foreseeable future. So maybe we'll get another baby in the family again, right? So that's really what I'm after, guys. I want to show you that. And if you want to go back, Eric, to the Infinite Cashflow Calculator, basically what you're going to have in that calculator, guys, and again, if you're not in the Blueprint program, just put Blueprint in the chat and the team is going to share with you what that is, right? It's really the lowest cost entry program that we have that gives you all the basics of how to become a commercial real estate investor, including the Infinite Cashflow Calculator, the journey, and the training behind it. So the investment journey helps you plan out your cash flow, your refinance, your exit from the deals, and your reinvestments. All of it tax-free, right? That's the play. Tax-free cash flow, right? If that sounds weird, guys, there's some amazing things coming in the horizon for people as far as taxes go, right? They're talking about getting rid of the IRS. Is that crazy? I think that's crazy talk. And all of us are thinking now, that's just them talking crazy. Who knows, right? Crazy things are happening. Maybe they get rid of the IRS. Today I saw the news. They're talking about replacing the IRS with the ERS. Did you guys see that today? Yeah? So IRS is Internal Revenue Service. Collects money from us, the citizens of this country. The ERS is the External Revenue Service. Collects money from people that do business with us in other countries, right? Now, all these things seem so crazy until they happen, right? Another thing that happened today, and I don't know if you guys are into health and fitness and all that stuff. I am, but they banned red number 5 food coloring from food, right? There's a list of it clapping. I was happy about that too, right? It's poison. In Europe, it has been banned for like over a decade. In cosmetics, it was banned 35 years ago. And now they finally banned it in food. Why is that happening all of a sudden? I don't know, but it's happening. Is it a good thing? Man, it's a great thing. I don't think anybody's mad about that happening, right? Making our food healthier. I'm excited about it. So these are some of the things that I think that are going to start happening that are a little bit exciting and crazy at the same time. And hey, I think for us that are investors and that want to build some wealth, I welcome some craziness in a good way, right? And if that means less taxes, then please show me how, right? The second thing, guys, is you can enter the amounts that you want to invest and project your journey. Now, this is going to change over time, right? 1 year, and I had a great call with Elizabeth this week, and she told us that, she's becoming a real estate agent, and I know you're going to crush it. So you probably are going to see your commissions grow year over year over year, and now you can start putting that money to work. So now you can plan and say, okay, my first year I want to make 100 grand just in commissions, or 200 grand, or 300 grand, or whatever that is. And out of that, I want to put to work this much money. So you can set your investment goals and then see how they're going to grow. Because at least for me, guys, when I see those numbers grow over time, it just inspires the heck out of me to keep working a little harder and to keep doing a little bit better. Because I don't want to work super hard until like I'm 90 years old, right? I want to work super hard for another decade or maybe a decade and a half. And then if I want to, I don't think it's in me, but if I want to, step it back and just see the team do its thing, right? Because I think that if you've met my team, they're all incredible humans, and I'm excited to meet the new members of the team in 2025, right? We're hiring, we're acquiring more people, we're bringing more people into the fold. I'm excited to meet the guys that I don't know yet, or the gals that I don't know yet, because I know they're going to be an incredible addition. So that's another thing that I'm praying for, right? Amazing people this year that come my way, because everything you do is through people at the end of the day, right? Number 3, how do you grow your wealth? And if you have a plan that is predictable and measurable and intentional, you are going to become more confident about it. And I think confidence is the most underrated thing in business. Many people approach business with very much hesitation. They're timid about it. They are like scared to be intentional with things, and I think that prevents them from having great success. I think that if you build confidence, and if you walk and talk and behave and act with confidence, you achieve greater results, right? You achieve great things. There's a guy on Instagram that I follow, and all he does is ask about, hey, how are you so confident? Can you tell me, how are you so confident? I don't know if you guys have seen it. He's in New York, I think, because, it looks like he stops people in the middle of the street and is like, hey, you walk so confident. How are you so confident? And there's a million different responses. All of them are great. And this comes from different places in different people, right? So wherever your confidence comes from, I think part of it is knowing where you're going, having very measurable goals, being intentional about them, accumulating the experience and the knowledge and the practice, because the more you do, the more you love what you're doing. And of course, if you're like me, is like, I know who I am a child of, right? And because I am a child of the Most High God, I can walk in confidence every day because I know He has my back, right? And when your Father has your back, then hey, what is there to fear? So those are some things that will help you continue to become wealthy. And then the final thing, guys, is like, I have not seen anybody have this tool. I think we invented something great, but I'm sharing it with my community so that you guys can use it, abuse it. And most importantly, the big favor that I will ask you once we review it and you have it, because I'm going to give it out all to you guys after that webinar, is please give me feedback, right? Please take some time to write down the things that you like to see the tool do. I already, after the first round of showing it to people, I already have one incredible improvement that we're going to make on it. And it's based on how you invest that cash flow that you're getting from the deals back into other opportunities. So we're going to change that already. But any other thing Like, give us feedback, right? That's what we want to hear. It's like, what do you like best about what we do, right? What is something that us, the Infinite Cashflow community, the CS3 investments community, the team, what is it something that we do that you think is great, right? Because if you think that we're doing something good, then I want to double down on that, right? I want to improve on that. I want to become better at it. Because if you give me that feedback, that means that a lot of people are going to give us that feedback. Okay, so put that that date on the slides. January 29th, guys, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is exclusively for our Blueprint community, our investors. If you're an investor, you're going to get an invite for this. And of course, our Academy students and everybody else that is participating in these deals, okay? So that's really some of the things I had to share with you guys. Love to open it up to questions. If there's any questions, now's the time for you guys to ask some questions. I'm going to try to get out of here in the next 10-15 minutes because I need to go push the send button on the big money distributions that are going to you guys, a lot of you guys. So I don't want to hold that any longer than I have to, and I'm sure you guys want me to go do that too, right? So that's exciting, by the way, right? It's exciting to pay money to people. At least I love it, right? So cool. Any questions? I see Tony in the room. What's up, brother? Good to see you again. All right. If we don't have any questions, we can get out of here. Do we have any questions? No, everybody wants me to leave and go pay people. Love it. Okay, Hamid. What's up, bro? You wanna unmute? Good evening. Can you hear me okay? There you go. One second. Can you raise the volume for me?
Hello.
There you go. I can hear you.
All right. Good evening. I always have questions. So I've been kind of practicing your wonderful napkin calculator, the quick calculator.
Oh, nice.
And just kind of looking through some deals online just to practice. Is it normal to see that these deals are, the values are astronomical? Like when I look at the values, they're usually listed at 2 or 3 times more than what that napkin calculator tells me. So I was looking at a deal that was like about $1.5 million, but the napkin calculator kind of tells me that it's about $500,000 to $600,000. So there's a lot of deals that's kind of like 2 or 3 times more value than what that calculator tells me. So I was wondering, are the sellers always like, but they're, I guess their deals
Or overpriced?
over the asking price? Yeah.
Well, not always. It depends on the deal. How many units are the deals? Give me an example.
This one was, I think it was 12 units. I'd have to pull it up.
Okay.
I can pull it up real quick. It's on LoopNet.
So 12 units. Do you remember how many, what was the average rent?
So that's the thing. They didn't list the average rent, so I went on ChatGPT and asked what it was. Sorry, I don't have the numbers with me. I could bring it in next time. Let me actually... Yeah, I can pull it up real quick. Here it goes. So it was 11 unit apartment building. Well, they said the cap rate is 8%, building class C, 91% occupancy. It was renovated in 2022, year built in 1965. It was just on the market on December 13th of 2024. All right, so it's 11 units. It's kind of a mixed unit. So
Did you request the financials? I mean,
no, I just kind of went by the numbers that they have listed on LoopNet and kind of pulled the average rent in that area.
okay.
Then that's calculated based on the expense ratio and the number. I calculate the occupancy and everything.
So, do you have the average rent or no?
I should have been more prepared when I.
That's okay.
But I have the average rent.
Let's do this. So, what I would recommend is don't be afraid to request the documents.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, 'cause if they're willing to give them to you, you'll get the P&L of the property and you'll get the rent roll and you'll be able to see exactly what the property is bringing in net profit and the average rents. So I would say ChatGPT could be off on the average rent, right?
Mhm.
I think that might be the source of the issue. But the way to confirm that is getting kind of the exposure to the financials. And for a 12-unit deal, I don't think anybody's going to give you a hard time as far as, hey, are you qualified? Are you, you have the cash in the bank? Like, sometimes they do that, but look, if they put it on LoopNet, they want action, right? At the end of the day, they want activity on that deal. So give them some action, right? Show them that you want it. Even though you might not do the deal, like, show them that you want it and get the financials, because that's great practice too. Even with the napkin underwriting tool that we gave you, where once you have the P&L, you know exactly how much they're bringing in rent per unit. And it's just a fraction of how much they're collecting every month divided by the number of units. So that's what I would do as you're getting practice. So I'm excited that you're looking.
Yep, sounds good. I'll hopefully reach out and get some information next time when we meet here on.
Yeah, bring it to the next show.
Sounds good.
And then you can always send us an email.
Yeah.
Right. So if you find something and you need to confirm something, send us an email. It's very easy for me to shoot a 60-second Loom video and kind of give you some guidance as well.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome, everybody. All right, guys. I'm gonna go pay distributions if you guys are okay with that. It's been amazing. First Infinite Cashflow show of the year. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you tons. I hope and I pray that you have an incredible, abundant, successful, happy, peaceful year ahead. Huge prayers for people in LA, guys. That was just terrible to see what's happening out there. If you have friends out there, I hope that they're doing well. We have a couple people that are in California, thankfully not in the exact area that was impacted, but it's gonna change completely the dynamic of California. That state is gonna turn upside down in the next few years. So I hope it's for the better. Of course, the destruction of property has been crazy out there, but I really hope that things change for the better, because it's such a beautiful state, right? I love California. I lived there for 5 years, and it's probably one of my favorite states to go visit and do that. But sadly, it just has gone a completely crazy direction, and I think things are going to happen for the best over there in the next few years. Okay, have an amazing night, guys. God bless you. Take care. I'll see you next time.